As someone who's been gaming since before I could read, I have, as you might expect, experienced a lot of video games. From the bad, to the good, to the forgettable, to the transformative, gaming has played an inextricable role in my life, entertaining me, inspiring me, and even shaping my values. I've long credited Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door as my favorite game of all time, but it was far from my first game, my first love in gaming, or even the first title I played on the GameCube. The game that was, like TTYD however, was first encountered by me via a demo in Shopco, Requiescat in Pace. After an extended period of begging my family, I was eventually gifted with my very own GameCube and a copy of the game in question, Star Fox Assault, the fourth released installment in the Star Fox series, though the first taste of the franchise for myself, as well as slews of other Zoomer pops. The game focuses on Team Star Fox, 8 years after the events of Star Fox 64 and 1 year following Star Fox Adventures, as they face off against an enemy far more powerful than previous villains, the Venomian Empire or Sharpclaw Tribe, the insectoid horde known as the Apoloids. As much as I may have neglected to give the game its due vis-a-vis TTYD over the years, few games have had more of an impact on me or hold such a special place in my heart. The gameplay was fun, the characters compelling, and the story exceptionally engaging, despite, or perhaps thanks to, the high levels of early 2000s cheese. For a kid who played nothing but Game Boy Advance and third-party plug-and-plays up to that point, I was blown away, and eagerly awaited the next entry in the saga of Fox McCloud and crew. Unfortunately, Star Fox Command for the DS, a game I have still yet to play to this day, was a major departure to say the least, and the hotly anticipated Star Fox Wii would never see the light of day. From there, Nintendo would remake Star Fox 64 on the 3DS in what was effectively a remake of a remake, given the fact that Star Fox 64 was, for all intents and purposes, a remake of the original Star Fox for the Super Nintendo, before following up with a remake of a remake of a remake with Star Fox Zero, this time to far more subpar results. What was once one of Nintendo's flagship franchises has sadly fallen into stagnation, with Fox forced to rely on other properties for contemporary outings. As we celebrate 20 years of Assault, Nintendo, having thankfully changed in its treatment of its beloved franchises, now has a golden opportunity to resurrect the Star Fox brand and bring joy to its millions of fans. In honor of this amazing game, I'm going to outline why Nintendo should release a remastered version of Star Fox Assault for the upcoming Switch 2 and how it should be done. For a period of time, I'd say from the early 2010s to 2020s, there was a quite apparent effort in the entertainment industry to appeal to the nostalgia of millennials. As Gen Z has grown up for the most part, however, there certainly seems to have been a shift towards our generation, and for good reason. Zoomer media sells. Last year's incredibly successful TTYD remaster is but one example, with content appealing to our childhoods being released, broadly speaking, to critical and financial success. As the final 90s babies enter graduate school and or begin our careers, while the younger among us finish up with high school, many of us seek an escape to our childhoods. With all the chaos in the world, it's an incomparable luxury to check out for an hour or two and revisit a simpler time.
Seems to be the trend these days. 90s, 90s, 90s.
90s. It seems like the phase has been the 80s for a long time, but I think now they're starting to get into the 90s more. I always feel like it's always about like whatever was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So when it was, I kind of burned out all my 80s and 90s nostalgia, so now I'm sort of going into the 2000s a little more.
There really is nothing quite like it, and as I alluded to, there's no better time for Nintendo to come back to this game in particular. Before TTYD for Switch got announced, I was reluctant to support anything more than a simple port, as I didn't feel like the graphics were in that desperate need of an overhaul, and I was afraid that modern Nintendo would suck the charm out of the original style. Of course, the game ended up being awesome, but I digress. In Star Fox Assault's case, though the game looked as beautiful to me as a 6 to 7-year-old as Red Dead Redemption 2 looks to me now, it hasn't exactly aged the best. It still doesn't look the worst for its time by any stretch of the imagination, but with the graphical capabilities of today, I can only imagine just how gorgeous Fucina, Saria, Corneria, the Asteroid homeworld, just to name a few maps, have the potential to look. The massive ships seen in the space battles could be so much more breathtaking. Space itself, for that matter. Forget our surroundings, how about our anthropomorphic cast? Picture rippling fur effects, nuanced details, and glints added to their eyes. Aesthetic improvements aside, the gameplay, while still an enjoyable experience, holds potential for improvement. As has been noted since its initial release, the ground missions are sometimes poorly designed, with it being annoyingly easy to fall through a map irritatingly close to victory. This could be remedied with some simple changes to the maps. The R-Wing and Landmaster sections alike could do with some smoothing out, as could controlling Fox on foot. While we're at it, why not add new characters to Versus mode? It's always felt weird that Wolf was playable, but not Leon or Panther. Perhaps Pigma, Oikani, or even an Aperoid could be thrown into the mix too. Forgotten characters the likes of Faye, Miyu, and Farah Phoenix could be given another chance. There is a wide myriad of changes which could be made for the better, but I'll leave things at that. In the proper hands, this classic could be refined into something better than ever. Going back to my introduction, Star Fox was for years one of Nintendo's quintessential IPs. Certainly not at the same level as Mario, but more prominent than, say, Pikmin. Which is deeply ironic given that even Captain Olimar and the bunch have been shown more love as of late. No salt whatsoever, I'm happy for Pikmin fans of course, but for Fox to go from being among the select few heroes granted a spot in Super Smash Bros. 64 to being such an afterthought is not only tragic, but also unwise on the part of Nintendo. Assault aside, Star Fox on SNES was considered revolutionary for its time, as was Star Fox 64.
Did you bros have a Nintendo 64? I think my favorite game on a Nintendo 64 was Star Fox 64. I play that game so freaking much.
There's no reason why Star Fox shouldn't continue serving as a trailblazer in the gaming industry. Of all the franchises to sit and collect dust, it has long baffled me why Star Fox is among them. Recently, there have been whisperings of Fox and Friends, joining the Super Smash Bros. Cinematic Universe, if you will, with Nintendo alum Takaya Imamura remarking that he sees a Star Fox movie as being more likely than a new installment in the F-Zero franchise. What better way to reintroduce the character and setting to a broader audience than by returning to arguably his most ingenuitive offering? I truly believe that it was not just TTYD's anniversary that inspired something similar from Nintendo, but also the retirement of the legendary Charles Martinet. So it is not out of the question for Nintendo to do something to this effect for the fans. Beyond a simple port to Nintendo Switch Online along with its counterparts on the GameCube, which would be welcome but perhaps insufficient given the circumstances, Nintendo could go a long way for the new paint job and ironed out gameplay as previously covered. Some have suggested adding more missions given what has been critiqued as a too short campaign. That's all well and good, but I myself would only like to see anything safe for a pure port under one condition: keep the original cast or at least make sure they're all invited. As far as I can tell, they're all still alive. Forgive me if I'm wrong about that as of the recording of this video, but even if they're unwilling to come back, they should at least get the call. We don't need a repeat of Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster with the Frank West, Terrence J. Rotolo not even being approached, or Mindy Cohn as Velma. If Nintendo doesn't want to bring the actors back in the present, they can, at bare minimum, respect their legacy by keeping their credits preserved and by not re-recording any dialogue. They can even give us a new cast if there's another Star Fox game afterwards, but in this instance, don't change the cast. All that being said, Nintendo has already laid out for them a model for how to approach the remake. Since 2014, without turning any profit of course, a certain ambitious fan by the name of Ice Cream Man has been working on a mod for Free Space 2 called Star Fox Event Horizon, which retells the Star Fox saga in a cinematic style not unlike Assault, and the game adapts the story of the Aperoids over the course of its narrative. I haven't given it a shot yet, but it looks amazing, and I highly recommend that you all go check it out via the link in the description. The love and dedication to the entire Star Fox mythos, not just 64, from Ice Cream Man's work here is honestly touching, especially as he aspires to improve upon the gameplay of the OG game. For Assault to succeed on the Switch 2, Nintendo needs to put the same effort into it as he and so many other fans across gaming have given to the games they love. I think this is very doable on Nintendo's part, and I trust them to have the ability to get it done. So those are my thoughts on the prospect of Star Fox Assault on the Switch 2. I am of the opinion that because Gen Z nostalgia is reaching critical mass, a remastered version in particular would be a wise investment for Nintendo. The game needs an enhancement visually as well as in terms of gameplay, and more importantly, Star Fox deserves a comeback given the franchise's indelible role in the cultural lexicon. Concerning how to do it, Nintendo has a very viable path in touching up what needs to be touched up while simultaneously showing the same love to their initial product that their fans feel for what they have created. I hope you all enjoyed this video and have a very happy Valentine's Day weekend. I'm not sure exactly when this video is going to be online, but I found conflicting sources on whether Assault came out on the 14th or the 15th of February 2005, so either way, I'm not missing it.
From a certain point of view.
As for where I've been, my laptop's charging port snapped off, and by the time I got it to the repair shop, it was December, and by the time I got it back, it was January. I've been wanting to get back to streaming, but I still need a certain add-on for my laptop that I plan to order soon. The reason I stopped uploading TTYD videos is because they weren't getting enough views to warrant the effort I needed to put it into editing, but rest assured, I have a plan for how to finish the game and share it with all of you. Regardless, thank you all for watching, and until next time, this is Jamie with Carnaval Entertainment, saying...
Hasta luego.